Welcome back, everybody. So here we are with the third part of issue 13. So in this part, I'm going to work on this seat. Now you've seen me kind of do this seat before, so I don't know if I'll show this or not. I might, just in case we have some new people here. But what I'm going to work on is in this image here, you'll see that there's a couple of wires that come up along one of these braces, and one's red, one's white. So I'm going to put those in, or at least paint them anyway. We'll try to get those in. And then there's two wires that go along here. I was going to use these, the same tubes as down here. I was going to use these, but I feel like they're too big. So I think even though those wires that go along the top are a little bit bigger than the ones that go up the support, I think I'm just going to use two of these pieces here. So I'm going to cut those off and get those all prepped and everything. So I've primed these. Both of these have been primed. So these will be ready for paint. I do need to prep one more to the white one. So I've primed the red one. I'm going to prep the white one to do its little 90-degree, and then we'll do the seat. I do have a few other things that I would like to do, and depending on how long this goes, I may have to do an issue or an episode 4 or part 4 of this, because I'm thinking about cutting in this spot here, and there's actually a big pipe that goes along here. It's bigger than this one. I kind of guesstimated it. This is probably 3/8 maybe of an inch. I guesstimated it to be about a ½ inch or so. So what I did was I bought, and I'll have to get this cut to do this. Let me show you here. I've got like a 4-foot piece here. So I bought this pipe, and I'm gonna have to cut it and then paint it and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'm gonna put that here. So part of the problem with that concept is that I can't just put it there because this is going to be in the road. And that's not really how it was. So it was back behind this wall. So to do that, I'm going to have to cut this wall. So I found my Dremel, and I had to go buy some cutoff wheels for it. I dug out my brother's extra wall piece. So here's his wall piece here. So I think what I might do is mark everything out and cut this one and use it as an experiment. And then I've also got his braces and this support piece, so that'll allow me to put the braces in place. And what I'm going to do is I'll build a little, basically like a little shadow box around that pipe, and we'll put it on this wall. So I'll cut a big hole out so we can see the pipe. And a lot of people, I've seen other people do this. They put lights on and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'm not going to put any kind of lighting in here. It's just going to, when you pull the cover off, you'll be able to see it. I just want it to be kind of cool when you do pull the cover off and show some extra detail and whatnot. So yeah, so this part here, cutting this wall and everything, may be its own video. So now I've rambled long enough talking about what I plan on doing. Let's go ahead and get around to doing. We'll get these painted. Both of these are going to be red, and so that way we can get those put in. Now I'll have to cut the hole or drill the holes for those two pieces. Also, I'm going to need to drill new holes in this wall here and down here on the floor. So let's go ahead and start by taking this part off. So we know it will have to come off in order to drill this. Okay, so never mind on the drilling or the removing. I removed the screws and I forgot that I glued this in place, and I think that kind of wedged everything else in place. So I'm going to have to drill these out with this in place. I might do a test drilling with this kind of mid-sized bit and see how that goes. Okay, so no wonder I broke that small bit, because man, the amount of pressure I had to put on this thing was ridiculous. And of course I drilled into my mat, so that's always wonderful. Just kind of make sure we room this out. Alright, so I'm going to take this piece here. We'll test fit it. It does fit in there. Alright, so I can drill out the wall with this one, but I'm going to do the floor with this bigger one. So while I have this upside down, let's go ahead and do the floor. And the reason why I'm doing the floor with the bigger one is because I wasn't very exact and didn't really methodically measure out where that hole needed to be for the one that goes into the floor for that wire. And so let me show you here. Let me see. You can just see this hole right there, and it's actually just about half of it is underneath this bunk area. So I need a bigger hole to be able to get this wire through. So the nice thing is, once you get through it, there we go. I think we're through. That's not too bad. This wall, man, I had to put some serious pressure on that. Okay, so now we have a much easier hole to put in here. So yeah, that'll fit through there, no problem. There we go. So we have both holes done. You can see that one there. And so let's go ahead and try to test fit this. So I'll start this piece here. Maybe. I should have test fit the one of these pieces that I'd already painted, because with this primer, this may not go on there. There we go. So it's in the hole. And there we go. So that is going to work. All I have to do is paint that one, and then I'll put it in place, and then I'll glue it. Because they're only so small, they're going to go back through here. Maybe I can put a hole in here. Man, that's asking a lot. Just looked at the image again. Yeah, they come down from the top and then over into towards these pipes. So I just have to provide a place for them to go into the pipes. Okay, let's see how this fits here. So sorry, there wasn't a whole lot for you to really see because I had this upside down and whatnot. So we'll take one of these, right? Well, let's take one of the ones that we're going to use. So it's got the primer on it and everything. So there's one hole. And I just need a spot to glue it in there. And one thing, when it's time to put these in place, I have to put on my other glasses or something. Okay, so it does work. You can see, actually, you can see a lot better than I can. There's the 2 holes I put in case you're missing it, right through there. Those 2 holes right there. So those are the 2 holes I just put in. I kind of scarred up this. I might touch it up, might just leave it. It adds character. It's the Millennium Falcon, and it's going to be dirty. So, yeah, but it's going to be dirty and messed up. I know what you're saying to yourself, but Loco, you only have 2 pieces that are bent at right angles. And you would be correct. There are only 2 pieces that are bent at right angles. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to bend one of these at a right angle, at least how I did it. So it's really, really simple. Okay, so you just take your lighter, take your piece that you want to bend. I'm going to take my lighter like this, and you can see as the heat comes on, over it goes. So it's not exactly 190 degrees, but I think that'll actually work for the way the holes are. I could try to get it to bend more, but if you're not careful, it really gets out of whack. See? Got out of whack on me. But so you can see how it gets all crooked and stuff if you're not careful. So I think we'll just make that work as is. And again, that's going to be too long. But again, it's flexible, so we can kind of bend it to the position that we want it in anyway. Now we do know this one is going to be red almost this whole distance and most of that. So I don't have to paint clear to the end. So I'll make sure I get it fully covered, you know. Alright. There is that. So that has been painted. I'm just going to stick that in there. Okay, so we've got the red painted. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to do the pipes, or the what do you call it? Let me set this off to the side here. The wiring across the top there. So what I've got is another stick of this rod, and what I'm going to use is this as my measuring. So let's just have a look here. So if we put this right on the line, we're looking at about 3 1/4, maybe a little over 3 1/2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that right up there. I'm going to take my knife. So like I said, I'm going to take my knife. Sorry, it took me a little while to find it. Unfortunately, my little workbench here is not as big as I would like. So it doesn't take much for it to get a bit cluttered. Okay. So I'm just going to show you how easy this is to cut. So you just find your spot, and I'm just going to roll it, and it just, that easy. There's 2. Alright, so there's our 2 pieces. And from the image, we know one is gray and one is blue. So the gray one will go on the bottom. The blue one will go on the top. And so because I'm going to paint these, I'm actually going to prime these ones. So what I'm going to do is, I've got all the holes drilled that I'm going to drill. I'm going to go ahead and get these primed, and then we'll come back and start putting those tubes in place, or the wires in place. Okay, so I've got the pipes over here drying. We got our blue and our gray pipe. You can see the blue, but the gray is a little hard to see there. So they're over here drying. Now we're going to work on the seat. I think what we'll do is we'll start off with the darker brown. And then what we'll do is add the light brown as we need to. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Okay, we're all stirred up here. I'm just going to set my stirring stick over to the side because I will need it again. And we're going to, it's not going to be a full-blown dry brush at this time, but it's going to be a fairly dry brush. Just because I feel like that's going to give us the best results. So wipe off our brush over here till we have hardly anything left. And we have such little amount that we're not even coloring it. So that's going to be black. I keep forgetting. Okay, so let's not quite dry it out that much. We'll get the main part of it there. Okay. So again, we're going to go with the dark brown. And then we'll touch it up with the light brown for accents. And we may have to do a couple of coats of the dark brown. Just to make sure we get it all. So that's not very dark. May have to go a bit heavier. See how this bottom goes. And it doesn't have to be exactly the way that it is in the cockpit. I mean, really, actually the ones in the cockpit would probably be lighter. You would imagine that they wouldn't have that many people sitting in the cockpit all that often. I would imagine Han didn't like backseat drivers too much, so he probably didn't let too many people in the cockpit. I'm guessing the reason why Obi-Wan and Luke were there was because, you know, the Imperial entanglements right out the gate. So that's what I would guess. So yeah, I forgot that was going to be black up there, and I didn't bother to get black out, but that's all right. We'll get some black out and touch this up. Doesn't help that we're going over white, so because of that, I feel like we're going to have a couple of coats just to make sure we're good and dark. That's darkening up a bit. We could even dry brush a little bit of dark black on there, because this brown is not the darkest brown on the planet. So, and that this other brown that I have is even lighter. So, yeah, we may come back with some black just to darken it up, some real light dry brushing of black, or we could do almost a wash with the black. That might be in order. There we go. All right, so we're gonna let that sit and dry for a second. I'm gonna go. Okay. So get that stirred up, and it darkened up quite a bit. I think I want to go just a smidge darker, and I did get a little bit of over on there with the brown, but I'll touch that up. Actually, I might leave it and I'll just touch it up with some of the silver. So I'm glad I identified this brush because it's pretty nice. This may end up being a bit darker than originally I had planned, but that's okay. We can even wipe some of it off if we wanted to. There we go. We get a little bit of that brown showing through now, which is fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. All right, now let's try a little bit of dry brushing. And the nice thing is, dry brushing this, we can lighten it back up with this lighter brown if we wanted to. So here we go. Oh, it's pretty good. I'm just going to go along this edge here where I feel like the white's showing through. Alright, there we go. Okay, now we can come back with our light brown. It's a nice mocha color or something like that. Got a mocha latte. Okay. So, I don't know how well the dry brushing will go with this micro brush, but we're going to try it out. Okay. I think the edges would probably have the lighter spots. You know what I mean? Like maybe kind of a rounded spot there, and then maybe a little bit kind of at a triangle. Like as you're sitting on it, you know. The inside where your body would sit on it would probably get a bit of more of the see that? Yeah. Your body would get a bit more in the middle where you were sitting. There we go. All right. One of the things I like is each one of these is a little bit different that I've done. And that's pretty much like true how like real life would be, right? It would just be a little bit different. Let's add a little bit of highlights in there. So there you go. You can see where I took the black and went across there. I don't know the best way to fix that up, but it's going to be kind of at an angle, and so I don't think it's going to be that noticeable. Just trying to use a little bit of this to blend it away. We could probably come back in with our darker gray and do the same thing. Or darker brown, sorry. And I'm just going to use the same brush because such a little amount is on there that I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Okay. I dab it a little bit. Yeah. See that? Took out a lot of the black. All right, we'll see how that dries, and then we'll go from there. I don't think I'll need the micro brush again. If anything, I might touch up just another quick dry brush of black there after that dries. Okay, I'll set this off to the side, let it dry. I'm gonna go wash this brush. Actually, I'm not gonna wash that brush. I'm not gonna set this off to the side. I still got silver to do, and I have my silver right here. I'm pretty happy with how faintly I was able to do the silver last time, and I didn't use it. I don't think I used a micro brush on that. So we'll see how well this works this time. Now, this spot here is not going to be faint. That's going to be kind of actually painted. This thing in the middle here. And because silver is more like it doesn't really have a lot of base color to it. It's just more of the metallic, really. So you don't get a real bright silver patch there. I mean, it looks pretty bright and silver for you guys, but for me, I'm not really noticing it too much. Alright, so I think you can see that. I'm just basically drawing this lengthwise across and right along those little ribs, and just letting a little bit of the paint come out of the brush onto those ribs. Go crosswise. Got a big old batch of paint on my thumb. Need a tad bit more. I noticed I didn't get up over here with the silver. I don't know what it is. Doing this like kind of touch up painting and weathering and stuff, I turn into freaking Bob Ross. What we have here is a happy little silver. Happy little blah blah blah. Alright, so we're gonna get a little bit of silver accent on the arm rest. You know, where you'd put your arm and your hand would touch the end. That kind of stuff. I need a tad bit more silver. One thing about the micro brushes, you don't take a lot of stuff to the party with it, so it doesn't take very long once you kind of used it up for it to be gone. Okay, now we need to get these edges just so they stand out a little bit. That way you know it's made out of metal and not plastic, right? Get some on these corners back here. Like I said, the nice thing is each one of these is going to be a little bit different, and I like that because not everything's going to wear exactly the same. So gives us the opportunity to, one, kind of make happy little mistakes, right? Because if you kind of overdo it on one or whatever, it's like, oh, well, maybe that one was overused or something like that. And I'm going to do this corner here, because you're going to be sitting in there, your legs will be rubbing on it and all that kind of stuff. We'll do this corner here. And just right along the edge there. I don't know how much you guys can see that. There you go. You can see a lot of the little touches that I did. What do you think? Looks pretty good. Like I said, I might come back with a little bit of black right there. This big old blob in the middle. It's probably not quite dry in the middle there, but it might be dry enough just to go with a very faint dry brushing. Okay, so there is the seat. I don't know how much of that you guys actually saw. I'll have to watch back. I feel like I was probably clear down here in the bottom doing a lot of the stuff, which hopefully if I was, you could still see that. And if I was and you couldn't see it, I really do apologize. So now everything should be dry. Let's start with figuring out where we're going to put this. So, because it's pretty much dry, I'm thinking right here. What do you think? We'll put it at an angle. We could even move it up a little bit, something like that. That looks good. I don't know the best way to identify where that's at, but because one of the things I want to do is kind of rough up that spot so I can make sure that the glue sticks. So I'm going to just kind of rough up a spot there. Boy, look at that. Clean the crap out of that spot. That's fine. We'll see. If I have to, I'll touch it up after the fact. Okay. So, I need to glue this in place. Now when I cut this, let's see if you can see this. So I cut it, it's at a bit of an angle. You can see it more on this side, I think. So one side's fatter than the other. That was just me not cutting very well. I was trying to do it all by hand. So the flat side is the side that's going to go down, and we're just going to do a bit of glue to it. And then put it down here in place where we want that to set. We give that a moment or two to set up. And then we'll be able to attach the seat right to it. So this is the moment of truth, really. I mean, this is putting this thing together and seeing how the pipes are all going to work and all that kind of fun stuff. Set that over there. Look out. So that's what I was afraid of. Okay. Let's leave that alone for a little bit. And let's prep our other stuff. The glue will come off and fill that hole. And this other one, I'm going to tilt this up a little bit. Get that put in there. Alright. So this other one I will glue from the bottom. But, and then what I'll do is I'll clip this end off and I'll glue it really well from there. But there we go, there's that. So the red's going to go on the bottom. I need to get something to cut with. Turns out I have the perfect thing right here. So this should give me some nice, interesting lines. Now I'm going to leave, I don't know if you can, that little crooked spot, I'm going to leave that towards the top, I think. Well, I kind of need to because it gives me the most length. So I don't know exactly how long I need, but we'll clip it right off where the red ends. And this one goes on the bottom. So let's kind of test this out. We gotta clip a long ways, probably, I would say at least 1/4 of an inch. So we'll go with 1/4 of an inch. All right. We'll try it again. It's all test fitting anyway. When you're doing these things, I think that some good advice is to dry fit everything before you kind of finish it up. Okay, so we want this to go along the pole, which it's not. So we're going to cut off a little bit more. Maybe not quite 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8. It's better to cut off a little bit at a time instead of cutting off too much and then having to start this process all over again. I don't think any of us want to do that again. If that happens, the prep work will all be off camera, I can tell you that. Okay, we're really close. I could probably get away with that, and that'll give me enough room for the white. So we have that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off at the top. And then I'll touch this up so it's red after the fact. So this is ready to go. And I'm just going to, just to give it some teeth for glue, I'm just going to use this. And I'm just going to, right at the very end, I want to try to remove a little bit of the glue. Or the paint, sorry. And that'll give, I won't be removing so much that you'll be able to see it, but it'll give the glue something to hold on to. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and stick this in this little dab. Okay, sorry about that. My glue probably set up. My wife just came and asked me a question. So, and when the wife asks questions, you have to be able to respond. Okay. So we're going to get that there. And then I'm just going to put a little dab there and there. We'll just push it over. All right. So there's our red wire. What do you think? There's this red wire. Since this glue should be all dried by now, I'll go ahead and clip this off the back. That's not necessary any longer. Okay, so now we can get this white wire ready to go. Okay, and I'm going to leave this crooked bit in there as well because it gives it a bit of something. So we know that we're going to probably need to cut off quite a bit. So I'm going to start off here. Let's test fit this. Probably should have put the white in first, the one on top, but you know. Alright, so I need to cut off probably, we'll do about 3/16 of an inch. Eyeballing it, you know. Let's see how this comes out. Alright, so it's a little overlapping still, and we're in the hole there. I need to go probably another 1/8. Okay, so we're in the hole, but the way this is kind of bent the way it is, probably make it a little bit shorter. That's the problem with not making it a perfect angle there. Alright, so we're in the hole. There we go. Alright, that'll work. Let's go ahead and, oh wait, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and, well, I suppose on this one I can actually clip the top after the fact. Yeah, we'll do that. So let's get some glue on the end here. This one will be a lot easier to get some adherence to. Oops. Oops. Helps if you leave it in the hole. Ugh. Come on. Alright. There's that. And see how much we can touch it without messing it up. There's that. Now let's get some glue on the other side. And I think this red one probably needs a bit of glue here as well. So I think I cut the white one a bit shorter than I did the red one. There we go. There's those. So I'm just going to glue one at a time. And I don't need quite that much glue, I don't think. One spot at a time, so I'm just going to put some glue up here. And I'm just going to stick this to it. Like that. Okay. Give that glue a chance to set up. And then just going to do that all the way down this line here. Now I'm going to need a tad bit more glue. Okay. Well, the end came off. I don't know how well you guys can see this. The light's not terribly good. Okay. There's that one. And the glue's not real good on that spot right there, and it doesn't help that this piece of wire, for whatever reason, is a little bit bowed. Maybe we'll pre-glue all of them, I think. I'm just going to set that on there, and then we'll roll this up to where it's in the glue. There we go. I like that. And I'm perfectly okay with the fact that they're not like super parallel or anything like that. So there's our wires over there. And those two wires going across there. We have the seat in place. And one of the things I was worried about, and you can just see the corner of that white piece that I put down there for the seat. So what I'm going to do there is I have this stuff I mixed up to paint this side. And what I'm going to do is just a little bit of paint in there. I'm just going to take a micro brush. Come on now. And I don't even care if it's like super mixed up because there's not much to it. There we go. Use my, wipe up my splatterings. There we go. All right. And I'm just going to come in through here, through this hole here. We'll just touch this up and hide that mounting piece that we put in. And there you go. Mounting piece is hidden. Just to verify, look back over there, and you don't see it anymore. You can kind of see where I scuffed up the floor, but the mounting piece is hidden now. And you can't even really see much of where I scuffed up the floor, so let's see if we get an angle there. Yeah, like pretty much all that's gone as well. Make sure I don't touch this spot too much. That blue's trying to come down. Gotta fix that while I'm here. I think we got good adhesion there. Alright, so I'm gonna let that set up, and hopefully it stays this time. I'm gonna leave it just like that, and I'm gonna say this part is done. So this will be, I believe, part 4 of issue 13. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it was well worth the extra effort that I put in to that. I think it is. I think it came out really, really well. It gave a bit more of a detail and whatnot. So let's see here. Got a bit of shavings from when I drilled the holes. So anyway, there we go. And then the next part will be what is this, issue 4 or part 4 or part 3? I don't remember. So the next part will be putting a big hole in here, I think. I'll probably try it out on this other wall that I have first, see how it's going to work out. I have an idea of what I want to do. Basically, I'm going to make like a shadow box and attach it to that wall. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully you guys stick around for that part because that should be very interesting. And like I said, I'm going to let this dry up and hopefully everything stays in place and we don't have any more issues. And thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. And may the force be with you always.